Oh, hero. Hero. Can you hear me? Am I getting through? I wonder if you recognize my voice after all this time. It's been, what, 10 years? 10 long, long years. Oh, it looks like you do recognize me. Look at that. Your hand went straight to your hip, even though you don't have a sword sheath there anymore. Silly, silly hero. I remember when you slept with your blade in hand. Have the years really made you so careless and lax? Don't bother looking around for me. I'm not really here. Not physically, anyway. Don't you remember this trick? Back when I tried to turn you and your companions against each other. Yes, you can't forget the Demon King, can you? We're bound together, you and I. We were always destined for each other, to share our fates. I think you never realized that, how much you needed me. When you were identified as the chosen hero, you came right for me, ready to carry out the task you were assigned, without even considering what would happen to you without me. I always understood, though. I never tried to destroy you, though I let you think that's what I wanted for a long time. Mostly, I wanted to get rid of your ridiculous little band of misfits. I didn't need any of them. But you know that, don't you? You remember what happened when you finally entered my throne room. I offered you everything. Riches, fame, comfort, safety. I even offered you a hand in marriage. That one I couldn't help but take personally. Turning down the rest was disappointing, but turning down me as a spouse, me, who could send nations to war with half a smile, that was just insulting. Confused? Oh, I'm sure you thought you killed me. Oh, how naive. As if the Demon King could be destroyed with a mere sword, regardless of its enchantments. No, I was simply weakened. It was infuriating, drifting around as a disembodied consciousness. But I wasn't too worried, because I knew that when I fell, you'd fall with me. Oh, you don't think so? Look at you. You practically live in a shack. You have to grow your own food. You're barely getting by. Don't lie to me, hero. I've been watching you. I saw everything. When you and your friends returned, I'm sure everything must have seemed so wonderful. The whole world was cheering your names. But you can't write the rest of your life off of a single victory, no matter how glorious. Your little friends understood that. They thought about what was next. They used their fame to start new careers as mercenaries or soldiers. I believe one of them actually became a politician, I rather liked that one, I must confess. But you, the hero, no, you couldn't use your fame to open doors. It was selfish, you thought. You told the king you were at his disposal, to stand wherever you were needed. Oh, poor clueless hero. With everyone shouting your accolades, I don't think you could imagine a world where you weren't needed. But it's the very world you created. With me gone, there was nothing that required your might. Sure, the king sent you on missions for a while, but you were just too much. None of the conflicts you were sent to resolve really needed you. There was nobody strong enough to warrant your involvement. And besides, your skills weren't really all that useful there. Most conflicts in the world aren't won by a single, overwhelming, powerful person. One person can be planned around and avoided. A larger, more versatile force is usually what's needed unless you're facing something like me. And so you became a relic, something to hang over the fireplace and admire, but never use. You were master of ceremonies for a while, a celebrity to make appearances and get the crowd excited. And then, finally, you weren't even that. The common folk are fickle, and the longer you went without doing anything, the less excited they were to see you. And here you are. The king promised a generous allowance for your services, but he didn't really have much reason to honor that once people stopped caring about you. Just look at you, the hero, the one who saved all mankind, penniless and living in squalor. You see, without me, you're nothing. But I didn't reach through the veil of death just to gloat. You may not believe me, but it brings me no pleasure seeing you like this. To see the only mortal worthy of my respect, and the only I ever saw as an equal, disregarded by those beneath them, it brings me only rage. I'm here because I want revenge. Not on you, don't worry. Even in the state you're in, I don't relish a fight with you. No, I want revenge on the vile fools that set you against me in the first place, who convinced you that I was the enemy. You may think that I am, but I don't have to be. Don't you even wonder if you were on the wrong side? You still think along such simple lines. You want to talk about atrocities. Your kind have committed as many against us as we have against you. Of course, we came to conquer the world. It's the nature of the successful kingdom to grow larger. I conquered and united the entire underworld, leaving to the mortal world as the only place to expand to. Do you think that the very land you stand on right now never belonged to another nation? Another people? What do you suppose they think of your king? It's our nature to conquer. Both mortals and demons can only survive by consuming other living things. Our existence is chaos and destruction. Say what you will about me and my infernal kingdom, but there's one thing you can't deny. It's united. You mortals have banded together to stop me, but you all went right back to squabbling the second I was gone. Under my rule, that would never happen. There would be no infighting or unfair treatment to each other. Think about that. I want to extend to you the same offer I did when you faced me. Join me, and I'll give you everything, even half the world, if you want it. Do you want to know why I made that offer? We, the demons, were the first to call you hero in our prophecies. The mortals stole that term and made you out to be their hero. But we believed that you could save whoever you choose. You could be our hero, my hero. We could conquer the entire world and unite it under one rule, together. No, that's a shame. Although you took much longer to decide than last time, I think you're starting to see things my way. Well, I was hoping we could do it the easy way, but... Fool, did you think I was powerless? Did you think I was only a voice? I've been reborn. What do you think of the new body? It's not too much different from the old one. But I made a few tasteful alterations. I'm taking you back with me, and there's not a thing you can do to stop me. Don't bother struggling. Those are curse chains. You would have had trouble with those in your prime, let alone now. Always so valiant and headstrong. But why don't you try actually thinking ahead for once? What would you do if you escaped? You can't fight me in your condition. You're out of practice, and you don't have any of your enchanted gear. Meanwhile, I'm more powerful than ever. I'm afraid that I'm through giving you choices. You're going to do whatever I want now. I'll finish what the mortals started, and break you, so I can mold you into my perfect servant. Maybe even a partner and spouse, if you're very good for me. Don't worry. I won't do too much to alter your mind. You may be a bit of a simpleton, but something about your direct approach led to your victory. But from now on, you'll be putting that brute force method of yours to work for me. Ah, those eyes. Some things never change. Those are the same eyes I saw when you faced me. You must still resent me, perhaps even more now than you did back then. Don't worry. In time, you'll understand my point of view. Come along now, dear hero. We have quite a lot of work ahead of us. Here we are. Home, sweet home. Does it look familiar? You stood in a throne room just like this long ago. Oh, yes, indeed. You did destroy my palace back then. A needless act, honestly. You had already killed me. Or so you thought. So there was no need to bring such a magnificent structure down. But I suppose I should be grateful, because it allowed me to construct this new palace from the rubble. I kept some of the old style for nostalgia's sake, but most of it is brand new and better than ever. Oh, you think so, do you? Well, you're wrong. Your kingdom hasn't bothered to keep tabs on the demon realm. None of the members of the Alliance have. And you know why? Because they want a resurgence. The war against the Demon King, against me, was devastating for the common folk. But it was terrific for royalty, the nobility, and everyone else who was rich and powerful. Surprised? Of course you are. Naive as you are, they loved it, because commoners were throwing everything they owned to the war effort. You really think all that money went solely to defense? No. Every greedy human that could was dipping their hands into the fund. It's rare for them to be able to take so much without complaint. It was risky, of course. There was the very real possibility I could just wipe them out. But of course, most casualties were soldiers or commoners. The ruling class would be the last to fall. So, they were more than comfortable with skimping on their contributions and pocketing the difference. They could always bring their hoarded wealth to bear if they were in danger later. Besides, what did they really need to spend money on? They had you, one person, with a small party to assist them. That's far cheaper than any army. In fact, I bet most of them didn't fully believe in the prophecy. It was just the perfect opportunity. They could point to me to explain why they needed money, and then point to you to explain why they didn't need to spend it. Anyway, they haven't been watching the demon realm to ensure a new demon king never arises. If they don't watch, then they don't have to lie when they say it came as a surprise. Does that make you angry, hero? Does it make your blood boil? They'll never stop, you know. They'll keep manipulating the public and raising their children to do it too. They have to be stopped. And you could be the one to do it. Just think about it. And I mean really think about it. Don't just toss out the idea because you don't like me. You've been to the demon realm. You've seen what it's like. Did you ever see a demon that looked poor or malnourished or mistreated at all? No, of course you didn't. Everyone under my rule is fed and cared for. From my top generals down to the one who mucks the stables. No, you're right. I'm not that kind-hearted. I don't care for my subjects because of love or loyalty or any sentimental drive like that. I do it because I plan for the long term. You humans live such short lives, so it's easy for your leaders to think about short-term gains. They're opportunistic scavengers, nothing more. But when you're functionally immortal like I am, you need to think about the future. The far, far future. I can't just create problems for the next generation to fix, because there is no next generation. So I give my subjects everything they need, so they can give me everything I need. Doesn't that sound better? Wouldn't you rather the humans live like that? Because there's only one way to make it happen. You need to replace your corrupt, short-sighted human rulers, hero. Replace them with me. Topple them from their pedestals and make them squirm in the dirt while I grind them under my heel and laugh. Make them regret denying the Demon King his... You get what I mean? I'd say don't be a child, but it's just like I expected from you. Of course there will be casualties. Millions. The royals will be sitting behind armies of gullible fools who will die for them. It's just how it is, hero. The human population will be reduced. In fact, I expect that my victory would require exterminating most of you. But those that remain will have everything they need, as will their children and their grandchildren. I wish you could think long-term like I do. But though you're powerful, you're only human. I anticipated this problem, which is why I'm going to give you a little nudge. Essentially, I'll brainwash you. No point in mincing words. I'm not going to deconstruct your entire identity, but I will make you obey me. It will be a long process, and made longer by any resistance you put up. But it will happen. And I'd appreciate it if you didn't struggle too much. You were never one to accept the inevitable. But it would be so much easier on both of us if you did so for once. Now, look into my eyes. Look deep. Even after all this time, with how far you've fallen, you still manage to resist my commands. Few humans can manage that, you know. But you can't hold out forever. Look. Better. Do you remember this? Back when I took the form of that attractive elven prince you fancied. I tricked you into looking into my eyes just like this. Let go. Stop resisting. Let your mind relax and accept my words. You don't need to fight it. You can't fight it. Not forever. Our minds are connected now. You can feel my presence, can't you? The power of my mind is overwhelming. I'm inside your thoughts, and you can't keep me from toying with them. It would be so much easier for you to just let go. Let me in, and I'll decide what's right and wrong for you. You're so confused now. Not at all like the last time I entered your mind. You don't know who to trust or what to do. So just hand that button to me. So stubborn, even with all your doubts. You can't accept defeat. Why must you always be so unreasonable? But it's all right. I tried to outwit you when you fought against my army. But somehow you always found a way to push through. All the way until you finally bested me. So, I'm going to take a page out of your book and just keep trudging forward until you're finally mine. But it still makes me wonder. Why do you even bother? What is all of this resistance for? Before, it almost made sense. You thought you were fighting for justice. You had close friends you needed to protect, and you believed in the goodness of your king. But now, they've all abandoned you. You've learned the truth, and everybody is fundamentally alone. And that goes especially for you. So why? Who are you protecting? For yourself? My, that certainly is different. And here I thought you didn't do a single thing unless it was for somebody else. Maybe you have wisened up. At least a little. But if you want to do something good for yourself, then just give in. Life will be far better for you under my control than it ever was under your own. It's just like I said. Those who serve me will be provided with everything they need. Speaking of which, I did mention before that I might marry you if you're good. But you didn't even flinch. Why do you think about it? Aren't you even a little bit curious about what sort of marital bliss I could provide? Just like old times. You certainly know how to give a harsh reaction. I'm not quite so offended this time around, though. Why? Well, because I'm certain you'll change your tune later. Mark my words. You'll get down on one knee and propose to me yourself one day. Just hope that when that day comes, I don't decide to be just as harsh as you were to me. Now, I could resume with the brainwashing, but I think we can call it a day. There's no rush, after all. We have all the time in the world. My servants will escort you to your quarters. But before I forget, this collar will seal your abilities. You're as harmless as a lamb now. At least to any demon. Rest well, dear hero. We'll see each other again tomorrow. It's going to be a very long day. Just give in. Relax those mental barriers. They're impressive to be sure, but if you don't lower them, then they'll eventually crumble. I'd rather not damage you any more than I have to. You've felt this before. Me, probing your mind with my magic. Do you remember that? The day that rogue friend of yours snuck a cursed gem off the armor of one of my generals after you defeated her. I was rather proud of that plan. He'd been snitching little bits and bobs wherever he could throughout your journey, claiming that it wasn't really theft because it all belonged to me. Your entire party was like that, you know? You included. It's not property damage if it's the Demon King's property. It's not murder if it's one of the Demon King's minions. Anyway, I must say that it was quite the stroke of genius on my part to plant a cursed gem for your sticky-fingered friend to take. It was child's play to use the power of the gem to allow me to reach your mind. You remember that night, don't you? You felt my presence in your mind. It took little time at all for your comrades to discover the gem's secret and destroy it, and yet I made quite an impact on you, didn't I? You were barely fit for battle for days afterwards. And this time, I can wield my full power against you, and nobody is going to stop me. Why even bother to resist? It's only a matter of time. The only question is, how broken you'll get by the end. Still so self-sacrificing? Well, you're sadly wrong. You'll be able to serve me effectively, even if I have to shatter you. Letting me destroy your mind won't stop me from using you. But despite your many frustrating qualities, I want you, not an empty shell with your powers. Now, obey me. Follow my command. Perhaps you need to try something you're not so opposed to? How about revenge? You're not willing to give yourself over to me completely, that's fine. We can work on that later. Just allow me to help you get your revenge on those cruel, backstabbing royals that let you fade into anonymity. They're hopelessly corrupt, you know that? You'd be doing the world a favor by taking them out. Just let me help you. You really don't seek revenge? Do you? Hopefully, I can help you with that someday. That naivety is pathetic. How do I get through to you? I know just what to do. Accept my hand in marriage. I'm positive you've considered it. No matter what you claim, there's not a single mortal alive who wouldn't be interested in me, let alone someone who's experienced my charms firsthand. Still, a person can only take so much rejection before they start to take it personally, you know. Never in my life have I met someone so completely unable to come to terms with their own desires. You're no better than any other mortal. You have hopes, dreams, aspirations, which means you also have fears, secrets, desires, and envious thoughts. All mortals try to hide this fact from others. But you're the only one to my knowledge that's managed to so effectively hide it from themselves. Why do you insist on denying yourself any amount of personal comfort or satisfaction? What's the point? Who is this even for? It certainly can't be for yourself like you claim. Everything you've done has only served to make yourself miserable. It can't be for your kingdom, surely. Your kingdom used you up and tossed you aside. Neither can it be for your former friends. None of them have stepped up to help you in your time of need. And I wouldn't be shocked if most of them could be convinced to join me with little effort. I've been pondering why you put up such a fantastic, infuriating fight, and I think I have a theory. You're doing it for the lie. Yes, the lie that there is a point to your journey. Back then, you must have felt so good about yourself. You were doing something important. You were the hero. Everyone loved you and believed in you. Or at least that's what you believed. Most people would do anything to feel like their actions mattered the way yours did. But you think that if you give in to me now, you'll invalidate it all. That your contribution to humanity will be entirely undone. And now that you've lost everything else, you think that's all you have left? I have to tell you, well, I don't really, but it never mattered. I'm not the villain. I'm just another player on the world's stage. It doesn't actually matter who wins or who loses. Your royals painted me as some great evil because of course they did. They don't want a rival. You may claim you protected your people, but what about my people? Our demons' lives were so much less than humans. The underworld has always been harsh and unforgiving, and as our population grew, we had no choice but to expand to greener pastures. Reality wasn't generous as to provide enough resources for everyone, and so we did what we had to. What I ask you, what was so righteous about stopping us? About slaughtering demons by the thousands just so humans could grow fat and lazy in comfort? It was a lie. It was all a lie. You would have been no less a savior if you had joined me. The only difference is, I know how to treat someone as valuable as you. Even now, as I try to brainwash you to my side, I've treated you better than your homelanders in years. You have plentiful food, warm, comfortable living quarters, servants to care for your needs. It doesn't matter which side you help. And so, why not help the side that treats you better? I think that's enough for today. You've never really been that responsive to my speeches or promises. I'll find what motivates you someday. But for now, we should eat. Servants, bring in the table and ready our dinner. Yes, it's much more elaborate than yesterday's dinner, isn't it? I anticipated that you wouldn't have much of an appetite on your first day here, and that you'd be especially hungry today after your first session. Oh, how you insult me. What reason could you possibly have to distrust this meal? I suppose you think I poisoned it. I have you at my mercy. If I wanted you dead, it would have already happened. This is exactly the kind of thing I've been telling you about. You pick the most pointless things to be stubborn about. Well, now, that's actually not a bad idea. But I don't feel like I need to lace your food with any mind-altering substances. I think the brainwashing would work better without it. Actually, but even if it was, you wouldn't really have much of a choice, do you? You can eat the food set in front of you, or starve. Look, I'll even take the first bite. That's better. I would have been especially put out if you refused to eat such a special dinner. You see, I'd actually had a feast like this prepared for us once before, the day you arrived at my palace. Indeed. It was supposed to be a celebration. It seems I'd been a touch overconfident you'd accept my marriage proposal. So, I had the feast prepared in advance. It never sat right with me that we never got to eat it together. It seemed appropriate to have an identical one prepared after you were brought here. I have a question. I hate to ask something that makes me seem insecure, but I've been dying to know. Did you refuse me out of principle only, or am I still not desirable to you? That question always bothered me. I've received so many marriage proposals from demons and mortals that I assumed that I was universally sought after. I find it so strange that you never seemed to consider agreeing when I offered. So intriguing. I thought you wouldn't answer. Never mind then, it's not important. Let's enjoy the meal. I imagine you haven't had an opportunity to eat this well since your victory feast following my defeat. No, there will be no further brainwashing today. I intend to wear you down slowly, rather than break you. You're free to spend the rest of the day as you please. so long as you don't try to leave, nor bring harm to my subjects or my property. That being said, I would enjoy it if you spent it with me. You may consider me as an enemy, but I know you far better than anyone else. The barrier that separates us might be easily stepped over, if you'd only try. Ah, well, there's plenty of time for that to change. Plenty of time indeed. Why? We've been at this for... how long has it been? Weeks? I've never taken more than a few days to break somebody. And that was when I had to be subtle. There's no reason that this should be taking so long. I keep asking you why you're resisting, and I still don't understand. What are you clinging to? Your kingdom abandoned you, your friends abandoned you, your whole great quest was pointless. I've never met anyone so infuriatingly stubborn. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think I'm just going to get bored and let you go? Do you think that if you refuse to submit to me, that I'll just surrender to you? Leave your precious human race alone? Perhaps I misjudged you. Perhaps you're not rational enough to be reasoned with. I'm starting to think you're some sort of a golem, created purely to make me and my kind miserable. I swear, that seems to be your only motivation. You don't care about revenge, justice, wealth, power, or anything else I have to offer. Is that what this is? Are you so empty that the only thing that brings you joy is tormenting your old foe? Even to your own detriment? Well, if you think I'm going to give in, you're still just as hopelessly naive as you ever were. There is only one way this ends, and that's with you as my loyal servant, perhaps even my spouse, if you're lucky. We will forge an empire together, and to that end, I've gotten my hands on something special. I had hoped that I wouldn't have to use it, but after today's session, I think it's clear that this is the only way. Bring it in. This right here. This will be the end of it. The end of your resistance. I'm sure you've never seen anything like it. An artifact of exquisite craftsmanship, isn't it? It's a relic of the demon kind. The ancients were fond of the pyramid shape, as you can see, and all the gold and jewels. But this isn't mere decoration, oh no. This is a magical construct, designed specifically for this purpose, for bending mortals to our will. I've been hesitant because the ancients were not the most cautious bunch. They didn't particularly care if mortals came out of the process mentally intact. In fact, they might have preferred that they didn't. This instrument is made to produce mindless thralls, not loyal servants. I'll have to exercise a bit of caution when using this on you. There's almost no point if I leave you as a drooling husk of your former self. But I'm more than confident this will do the trick. Now, if I just channel a tiny bit of power through it... Look at that. You're struggling against this more in the first few seconds than after a few hours of brainwashing the other way. It's ingenious how it works. Ordinarily, I use my magic to inflame emotions. I take what you already want and feed that desire until it's all you can think about. and I make sure the only way you can achieve that desire is by serving me. But this is different. It implants false memories into you. You'll begin to misremember your whole past. By the end, following me will seem like the only logical choice, because you'll think it's exactly what your whole life has been leading up to. Although, I have to actually access your memories first. I didn't think that was something a person could resist. Actually, how are you doing that? Well, I can just make you tell me after we're finished. I just need a little more power. What is this? A second wind? You were exhausted just a minute ago. Your mind hasn't been this strong since the very first session. I just need to think positively. Once I do turn you, it will be permanent. If it's this difficult for me to access your mind, then no one else in this world will be able to get in and undo it. A little more power, then I'm close. So close. I wish you wouldn't try so hard, though. You have no idea how difficult it is to push through your mental barricades without pushing too hard. Well, stop that. You can't push back. That's not... What are you? Why do none of the normal rules apply to you? That's it. Give in now. No. I didn't mean to. That wasn't supposed to happen. Speak to me. Say something. Curse you. Why did you have to struggle? Come on, wake up. I don't want a zombie. I want you. This can't be happening. I just need to be calm. I can fix this. Yes, I can fix it. Let me look. Can you look at me, hero? Look at me. Oh, this isn't good. You won't even follow simple commands. I pushed far too hard. Let me think. Well, what actually happened, I think... The pieces are still there, just disconnected. I can put them back together. Stay strong, hero. You've held on this long. Just hang in there a while longer. A connection here, a connection there. That's a start. Let's try again. Look at me. Progress. I never thought I'd be happy. You're so absurdly resilient. A lesser mortal would have let their conscience drift off into nothingness. It can feel comfortable to cling on to conscious thought. Like trying to stay awake when you're exhausted. This should make it easier. There, can you speak? I wouldn't call that speaking. Where is your speech? Where did it float off to? Ah, here. Try again. That's better, I suppose. You were never all that eloquent to begin with. Anyway, what next? What next? Oh, this is... And here I thought you didn't truly see the connection we have. I never knew you had such fierce thoughts about me. Everything I did to you during your journey, it's all here, in a roiling, festering lump. You remembered everything. It was never personal to me. Not really. I tricked and tormented you because I had to. You were sent against me as an enemy. Part of me enjoyed it. But only because of how thrilling you could be. Naive and simple-minded, yes, but challenging too. If I had known how much it all infuriated you, perhaps. So you can still speak clearly when you want to. You're right. I wouldn't have done anything different, even if I'd known. I'm not like you mortals. I don't worry and fuss over mortality. I do what needs to be done. Still, it upsets me somehow to see that you despise me so thoroughly. Perhaps, perhaps I can tweak this. Oh, all right, that's enough tweaking. You're too delicate as it is. We don't need to fracture your psyche further. A few more connections. Yes, that should do it. Now is the moment of truth. I suppose. Let's see if you're back to normal. Well, do something. Yes, good. Wait. Stop. Turn around. Now kneel before me. Huh, so it worked. In the end, you're really mine now, aren't you? And here I thought you'd be back to your old stubborn self, and we'd have to start all over. What do you think of that? Of being my servant? What does it make you feel? That is exactly what I wanted to hear. Which worries me. That doesn't sound like something you'd say, even under my control. I'd expect you to say something hopelessly simplistic. You are yourself, aren't you? A foolish question for me to ask, as if you'd say no, regardless of whether it's true or not. Ah well, after all the frustration you put me through on the way, I should be grateful that we got to this point at all. Your calmness is admittingly unsettling, but after a while I'm sure it'll be a refreshing change from your old self-righteous attitude. Not all that chatty anymore either, are you? It could have been worse, I suppose. As long as you can fight for me, it's all I really need. It's not really what I envisioned. All the things I hate about you seem to be gone. But I wonder if it's those exact things that make you so frustratingly powerful. No. There's no point in thinking that way. This is a victory. You're mine, hero. Finally. After so long, I finally have you by my side. You're going to bring me and my people into a new age. You'll be my finest servant, my most loyal minion. I've planned for this for years. You're going to change everything. Your training is coming along quite nicely. Of course, you are already an accomplished warrior to begin with. But it's been ages since you've seen combat. And you used to focus on non-lethal strikes. Such an odd choice for someone wielding a sword. But now, you're displaying your true potential. Being a muscle-headed brute is actually working in your favor for once. You've already surpassed every single of my swordsmen. You might even be better than me in sheer swordsmanship. Though, naturally my true strength lies in sorcery. Still, I find myself wishing you weren't quite so obedient. In demon culture, conflict breeds strength. I pictured our relationship as tense, with plenty of that conflict to strengthen us both. There's something beautiful and passionate about that kind of mutual hatred. I'd even call it intimate. This is all too easy. And I do miss your naivety, grating so it sometimes was. It was always so fulfilling to educate you on how the world really works. But well, I shouldn't be too picky. You're a formidable minion regardless, and most importantly, you're no longer standing in my way. You were the only mortal capable of threatening me, and now there's nothing stopping me from conquering the human world. And besides, it's only because you're so mindlessly loyal I can do this. Oh, you drive me wild. I hate you, and I love you so much. Even if I have to rely on memories of what you used to be like, that's been one thing about this that I've been thoroughly enjoying. It's amusing to me that one single mortal was responsible for disturbing my plans for world domination. The rest of your little friends are hardly a threat. I'm sure you found them useful, but without you, each and every one of them would have been captured easily. In fact, I was able to track down and capture one of your old comrades. Bring him here. You remember Bragmar the dwarf, don't you? You and he never did see eye to eye, did you? Don't worry, he's been silenced. He's even more annoying to listen to than you used to be. While you were wasting away, barely scraping by on your little farm, he became a wealthy mercenary. No scupples, this one. He's taking coin from all sorts of disreputable parties. I do admire his practicality, but it does irk me when I remember how self-righteous he was when you were adventuring together. He was always claiming that your party was serving human interests above the other mortal races. But do you know what he's done since? He's taken contracts by humans to fight against his own kind. More than any of your other former comrades, he represents how meaningless your quest was. All those lofty aspirations you all claimed to have were merely pretty lies, meant to aggrandize yourselves. When they were no longer convenient, you abandoned them. And so, I think it's fitting that his should be the first life you take as my servant. In a sense, you'll be killing your old self, destroy this symbol of hypocrisy, and embrace your true nature. That was an order. Let me be more clear. I order you to strike down Bragmar. Now. I order you to strike him down now. Why are you standing there? Oh, this cannot be happening. I thought you were past all this. By the very lowest pits of the underworld, how? You're broken. There shouldn't even be anything left of you to resist. I take it back. I take back everything I said earlier. I do not miss the old you. I do want a mindless slave. Why do you insist on fighting me at every turn? It's like your entire existence is meant to aggravate me. I don't know what to make of this. If you won't even kill this insufferable dwarf, with whom you were constantly arguing, who was always getting in your way and trying to turn the rest of your party against you, well, what can I possibly do with you? I'm positive now that I can't rely on you to attack your former homeland. If I have any plans at all that hinge on your cooperation, you very well might freeze at a crucial moment. Everything was falling into place. Having you leading my armies was the perfect plan. It would have been hopelessly demoralizing to human kingdoms, and once they were gone, there wouldn't be any real force that concerned me. And more than anything, I wanted you to be with me. We're tied together in a way nobody else could comprehend. We're supposed to be more than just enemies, and also more than just lovers. Maybe it's time I gave up on you. I've tried everything to turn you to my cause, and even when I thought I went too far, it wasn't enough. Everything about you is just so impossible. No, I am the Demon King. I will not let a broken shell of a human best me. There's still something left to try. This is the Cursed Blade Hellcharger. It's the most potent demonic blade in the underworld, and my personal choice of a weapon. It has the ability to enhance any demonic magic it touches. Perhaps if you hold it, it will enhance the mind control magic I've placed on you. Take it. Yes, I think it's working. Finally, I'll have my perfect pawn. Together we're going to... What? Did you say something? You haven't spoken a word since I broke you. How did you... What are you saying? I just handed you a sword that enhances demonic magic. Are you telling me it healed your mind? What is happening? This doesn't make any sense at all. Why is it always like that with you? It's like you're too stubborn to obey every natural law. Now how am I going to... Since when do you attack people when you're distracted? If I hadn't put up a barrier in time, you would have run me through with my own sword. That figures. I've managed to make you abandon some of your morals, but only in the most inconvenient way. Were you just designed by the gods themselves to frustrate me? I'm not certain even they could manage to create something like you. Well, where does this leave us? You have my sword, but I'm safe in my barrier. You can't breach it with the sword. Striking it with a demonic magic enhancer will only make it stronger. So, do we just stand here forever in a stalemate? Surely you'd be willing to talk this out. I've quite literally never seen any mortal that angry. Why? Perhaps I did brainwash you, but I've done far worse to others. And I've been in your head. You've always hated me. Your malice defies all explanation. It's practically supernatural. Supernatural. Yes, one might say demonic. Of course. Oh, this explains everything. There's a reason you're so stubborn. Why you push yourself to do the right thing, even though that path ruined your life. Why you despise me so thoroughly. Why you can resist my magic, and why that sword healed your mind. You're part demon. Oh, that explains everything. You know, I bet you'd really believe that. I'm sure you were never told, but you must have demon blood in you. But I can prove it. I wasn't able to see it in your mind because I'm sure you've buried this deep, but I'm certain it's true. You hate mortals, don't you? Think back to all those little moments in your life when you irrationally despised everyone around you. It frightened you, didn't it? You wanted to lash out and kill everyone who crossed your path. I did that when I declared war on the mortal world. I made the blood of every demon burn in with fury to rise to my cause. It would have called you, too. That's why you're so blindly, hopelessly ethical. You don't trust yourself to make the right decision, because you know what your instincts tell you. So you ignore that little voice in the back of your head and you do what you think you're supposed to do. And that's why you hate me. You're drawn to me. You want to serve me. You want to please me. It flies in the face of everything you think is right. I'm a threat to your identity as a good, peaceful human being. But that strength in your blood kept you sane when you should have submitted completely to me. You're naturally resistant to demonic magic, and most crucially, that blade healed you by strengthening your blood. Demons can recover from many injuries, both physical and mental. This changes everything. I've finally found the key. Now that you know this, you must see it. You really are the hero of demonkind. Listen to the call of your blood and join me. Together we'll... What? So, even knowing this, you still defy me. You're delusional. The mortals will learn your secret someday. They've already abandoned you and forgotten you, but once they do, they'll hate you. You'll really choose them over me? That's it then. I'm through trying to win you over. You've rejected me at every turn, and I can't stomach it anymore. I'm sending you back to the pathetic little hovel I found you in. Oh, I'm counting on it. Go ahead. Return to face me. But I'll be ready for you. Now that I know what you really are, I finally know how to beat you. I'll be well prepared by the time you locate me. Farewell, hero. Our next meeting will be the last. So, you've arrived. Oh, far from it. You actually made it back to me much sooner than I expected. You really took your time during your original adventure. I assumed it would be even longer than that with how out of practice you are. Yes, I suppose so. I really did whip you into shape during your brief time with me. If only I'd known that all my hard work would come back to bite me. But then, maybe I would have done everything the same. If I had defeated you when you were rusty and weak, people would say that I could only beat you when you were at your lowest. When I triumph today, it will be after bringing you back to your prime. Nobody will be able to doubt my power then. This feels so much like the beginning of our last fateful encounter, and yet, now that I know what you really are, I see everything in a whole new light. I'd always thought you were a brainwashed, naive pawn who hated me because you were told by your masters. But no, that's not you at all, is it? You have your own personal reasons for hating me. I'm everything you despise about yourself. I'm the part of you that you want to pretend doesn't exist, and you're willing to go to war to erase me from the back of your mind. Hardly. Honestly, I respect it. It's a very demon-like thing to do. You always baffled me when I thought you were a goody-goody human. But now you finally make sense to me. I'd probably do the same in your position. If I had a good thing going with the humans, well, not a good thing, but better than nothing, I'd want to crush any evidence that I didn't belong either. You're just trying to keep what's yours. No, I'm through with that. I'm not trying to win you over or seduce you to my side. We're far past that. Now, I extended my hand to you, time and time again, hoping to make you mine, however I could. But your last rejection was one too many. I'm through being generous. Now you're going to see what happens when I actually want you dead. It still hurts. I've determined that I can't use demonic magic to beat you. Your frustrating combination of demon magic resistance and human tenacity is potent. But if you've inherited the demon strengths, then you've surely also inherited the weaknesses that come with it. That's why I'm using this blessed sword. It sears my very flesh, but it will cut through you like no demonic blade ever could. Oh, the irony. I love it. The Demon King wielding a sacred sword, and you, the hero, wielding my old demonic one. It may strengthen your demon hath, but that won't be enough to stand against my new weapon. You've grown into your demonic blood, really you have. You hate it, but it suits you. If only you'd been raised in the demon realm. Oh? What right do you have to give me orders? I'm your king. When you didn't know of your heritage, I opened my arms to you. Even when I thought you were a naive little human, I treated you like an equal. I offered you everything from riches, power, to my own hand in marriage. And you turned it all down. It should be beneath me to hate you, but you've dragged it out of me, bit by bit. Well done, well done. You've got what you wished for, and now you'll suffer and bleed because of it. Oh, I hope I don't give you a quick death. I pray that I can make it slow. You're going to regret all of it for the rest of your short life. Hero, come at me with everything you have. We finish this now. The blade. It wasn't enough. Why was it never enough? I have centuries more experience than you. I was wielding a sword that should be the bane of your demonic lineage. It's because of your human half, isn't it? The blessed blade isn't enough. It's all because of your blasted mongrel blood that it's not effective as it should be. No. You're not the only half-demon to ever exist. Any one of them would crumble before me. You're ridiculous. That's what you are. Some impossible mix of traits and circumstances that never should have met in a million years. In any other world, with any other foe, I would be victorious. Somehow, beyond all probability, you have the body to resist any magic I could use, and the stubbornness to ignore my offers, and the mental fortitude to not succumb to my manipulation. Any one of those should have been enough. But you alone can shrug it all off and keep fighting. How stupid. Am I going to be bested by chance? By the least likely outcome? Your realm is mine by right. I have the better army, the superior planning, the better magic. Humans deserve to be subjugated by demons. After all you put us through, you deserve even worse. When you first presented as the hero, they said you were chosen by the gods. I thought they were making it up. Who knows, maybe there really is some deity out there who hates me enough to create you just to spite me. I suppose not even I could do anything about divine intervention, or fate, or chance, or whatever this is. I wanted greatness for me and my people. Was that too great a dream? Is it just our destiny to remain in a tiny slice of creation for all eternity? I'll likely never know. I'll be forced to spend the rest of my life wondering where it all went wrong. Oh, you will you? You think you'll kill me? Ha! Try it. Ah! Holy magic hurts even worse than a blessed blade, but that was worth it. I was forced to destroy the very sword you stole from me. But now you're unarmed. You can't slay me without some kind of enchanted weapon. A valiant effort, truly bloodthirsty, but I don't need to breathe like you mortals. This only makes it difficult to speak. But I'd be lying if I said that it didn't hurt. You have monstrous strength. No, you won't be back because I won't be here. I'd finally reached the conclusion that I can't defeat you. Try as I might, it seems like the only thing even I can do so long as you live. The human realm is beyond my reach, and with your demonic heritage, you'll live for a long time. Part of me wants to fight you to the death. If I wasn't focused on staying alive, then perhaps I could at least take you with me. But self-loathing as you are, you might welcome that. And I have plans. Plans for how I can properly achieve my revenge against you, hero. I can't allow myself to die yet. So, as much as it pains me, I will withdraw. My armies will follow, of course. The war has ended as of this moment. But I'm not finished with you. Oh no, not at all. I'm giving up on my campaign against the human realm, just so I can focus all of my attention on you. I'm going to tell you exactly how I plan to do it too, just because I know it will drive you wild. You see, I can't beat you, but who's to say somebody else can't? Especially if they were to have some particular constitution that you do. Oh yes, indeed. I'm going to produce an heir, a half-blood just like you. I'll raise and train them with the sole purpose of killing you. They'll slip into your life, pretend to be your friend or a lover, and then murder you in cold blood. Perhaps you can prevent it, but only if you suspect everyone. And I assure you that everyone is out to get you. And if you assume everyone is out to get you, and never let anyone get close to you, perhaps you can survive my vengeance. And with that, dear hero, I bid you farewell forever. We will never meet again, and I will be watching you very closely. I eagerly await the day I watch you draw your last breath at my offspring's hands. Enjoy the rest of your life. May it be even more miserable than before.